Behind monastery walls, life was supposed to be pure, silent, and devoted to God. Yet history whispers a darker truth. Many monks lived double lives, preaching holiness by day, but surrendering to temptation by night. Chronicles reveal that some monks smuggled wine into their cells, indulging in feasts, forbidden by their vows of poverty. Others secretly met with village women, disguising their sinful affairs as acts of confession. Even more shocking, some monasteries hid gambling dens, where holy men wagered church money on dice and cards. These secrets were carefully concealed, protected by silence and brotherhood. To outsiders, the monks appeared saintly, but behind locked doors, the rule of God was often replaced by greed, lust, and corruption. Medieval monasteries were designed to protect men from worldly temptations. But temptation often found its way in. Records show that monks secretly brewed strong ale, turning prayer halls into taverns after dark. Some indulged in forbidden pleasures with women who slipped inside under the cover of night. Wealthier monasteries, blessed with donations, became hubs of luxury where monks enjoyed soft beds, exotic spices, and fine fabrics. Instead of fasting, they feasted. Instead of celibacy, they sought comfort in secret embraces. To the world, they preached against sin. Behind closed doors, they tasted it with hunger. These forbidden pleasures reveal the hypocrisy that shadowed even the most sacred places of the Middle Ages. Not all monks were holy. Some were infamous for their shocking behavior, hidden away from public eyes. Chronicles describe monks caught in drunken brawls, fighting like common peasants. Others were accused of stealing relics and selling them to travelers, turning holy objects into profit. There were even reports of monks fathering children despite vows of chastity and then bribing officials to bury the scandal. The monastery was supposed to be a place of peace, but behind its heavy stone walls, jealousy, greed, and rivalry brewed like a storm. Bad behavior spread quietly, protected by silence, as long as appearances of holiness were maintained. These monks remind us that even the most sacred robes could cover sinful hearts. The life of a monk was supposed to be filled with prayer, fasting, and silence, but history reveals another side. When no one was watching, monks often indulged in secret pastimes. Some played forbidden games, rolling dice or carving wooden toys in their spare hours. Others slipped out of the monastery at night, blending into villages where they enjoyed music, dancing, and women's company. Even within the cloister, their cells hid secret letters, love poems, and stashes of sweet foods. At times, whole groups of monks rebelled against strict abbots, living as they pleased while the church turned a blind eye. Behind closed doors, monks often chose pleasure over penance, proving that temptation existed even within holy walls. The most shocking scandals of medieval monasteries involved forbidden love. Despite vows of celibacy, many monks were drawn into secret affairs. Some fell in love with nuns from nearby convents, exchanging letters and meeting in hidden passages. Others lured local women into the monastery, disguising their visits as acts of charity. These affairs were not just rumors. Records of trials and punishments confirmed their existence. Some monks were expelled, while others were protected by powerful allies within the church. Scandalous affairs often became open secrets, whispered about by villagers who noticed pregnant women connected to monasteries. These stories reveal how passion could break even the strongest vows, turning sacred spaces into centers of sin. Medieval monks were expected to live as models of purity, but reality often told another tale. Many preached against greed while hoarding gold gifted by wealthy patrons. They warned against lust while secretly breaking their vows of chastity. Some monks even condemned drinking and gluttony, yet their own dining halls overflowed with roasted meats and barrels of wine. The greatest hypocrisy was that these same men punished peasants harshly for sins they themselves indulged in. A poor farmer might be fined for missing church, while monks spent their nights in drunken celebrations. This double life created distrust among villagers, who saw monks as holy in words but sinful in deeds.
Their hypocrisy was the shadow behind the candlelight of faith.
Monasteries were built for prayer, silence, and discipline, but some monks turned them into playgrounds of sin. Reports describe wild gatherings where chanting was replaced by laughter, singing, and drunken dancing. Wine flowed freely, and food was stolen from church stores to host feasts. In some cases, monks invited outsiders to join their celebrations, creating chaos inside the cloister. Others went further, engaging in fights, theft, and scandalous relationships. What shocked chroniclers most was not just the behavior, but how carefully it was hidden. By day, these monks knelt in prayer. By night, they lived recklessly, as if the walls themselves could guard their secrets. Despite vows of celibacy, many monks were consumed by forbidden desires. Some fell in love with noblewomen who sought spiritual guidance, turning confession into seduction. Others secretly met with widows or peasant girls, disguising these relationships as acts of charity. In rare but recorded cases, monks even formed passionate bonds with one another, breaking both religious and social laws. These liaisons were carefully hidden, yet they left behind whispers in chronicles, poems, and even court records. The struggle between devotion and desire haunted many monks, proving that the human heart could not be caged by vows. Love,
though forbidden, often burned brighter within the monastery walls than outside them.
Behind the sacred silence of monasteries lay shadows of vice. Gambling dens, secret wine cellars, and hidden passageways became playgrounds for monks seeking thrill. Some monks trafficked relics, selling bones of saints' rail or fake for profit. Others dabbled in forbidden books, reading works of magic and astrology banned by the church. Even worse, some monasteries became centers of corruption, where abbots used donations for personal luxury instead of charity. Though these vices were hidden from the public, they poisoned the very soul of the church. To the outside world, monasteries glowed with holiness. Inside, many hid a life of temptation and corruption. To villagers, monks appeared as holy men who lived in prayer and poverty. But many led double lives, wearing one face in daylight and another after dark. A monk might spend the morning preaching about sacrifice, yet at night slip away into the village tavern, drinking and laughing with peasants. Some even kept mistresses, providing for them with money taken from monastery coffers. These men confessed their sins by day, only to commit them again by night. Their double lives created a dangerous balanced one where reputation was maintained through lies. While true desires ruled in secret, this hidden life of contradiction made some monks saints in public, but sinners in private. From the outside, monks appeared as pure servants of God, their robes symbolizing discipline and holiness, yet inside the monastery walls, many carried scenes that clashed with their vows. Some lived in secret luxury, sleeping on feathered mattresses while villagers starved outside. Others enjoyed forbidden relationships, cloaking passion in the guise of spiritual counsel. Even greed found its way into their hearts. Monks charged peasants unfairly for blessings, confessions, or burials, turning faith into business. While their chants filled chapels with devotion, their hearts were heavy with hidden sin. This sharp contrast between their public image and private actions revealed a world where holiness was a mask and temptation thrived beneath it. History records not just piety, but scandal. Across medieval Europe, monasteries faced shocking accusations. Abbots caught in affairs, monks stealing church treasures, and even entire orders dissolving after corruption was uncovered. In some cases, whole communities of monks were exposed for drunken orgies disguised as feasts.
Local villagers whispered, and rumors often spread faster than the church could silence them.
Some monasteries became infamous, their names tied forever to scandal rather than sanctity. These events shook the faith of ordinary people, who wondered how holy men could fall so low. The scandals of medieval monasteries remind us that even sacred walls could not contain human weakness. Behind closed doors, desire often triumphed over discipline. Some monks longed for the touch of women, arranging secret meetings through bribed servants or hidden tunnels.
Others craved wealth, hoarding gold coins and private chests. There were also monks who became addicted to drink, unable to resist the lure of overflowing barrels of ale.
These forbidden desires were not just private weaknesses, they often threatened the stability of the entire monastery. Rivalries, betrayals, and blackmail thrived in this hidden world. Though monks vowed to turn away from sin, their human cravings exposed the truth. Holiness could not erase desire, only hide it. To outsiders, monasteries appeared as places of perfect silence and prayer, but within their thick walls, hidden sins grew like shadows. Some monks lived in secret lust, others in greed, and many in hypocrisy. Food meant for the poor was stolen for lavish feasts. Gold offered in devotion was locked away in private storerooms, and vows of chastity were often broken in silence. The sacred walls, meant to shield men from sin, instead became a cover that hid it. These hidden scenes reveal that even the holiest places could not escape the struggles of human weakness. The rule of Saint Benedict guided monastic life with strict vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Yet many monks chose to break those rules with boldness.
Some openly defied fasting, feasting on meat and wine, while peasants starved.
Others ignored silence, filling nights with laughter, music, and gossip. The vow of chastity was most often broken as secret affairs and hidden families came to light. Even obedience was resisted, with rebellious monks challenging their abbots or fleeing monasteries altogether. These men lived as though rules were suggestions rather than sacred vows. In doing so, they turned holy houses into places of scandal, proving that even the strictest codes could not bind the desires of the human heart. The monastery was built as a fortress of prayer, but not all monks remained faithful to its mission. Some abandoned piety altogether, chasing pleasure in secret. Their nights were filled with feasts where wine spilled like water and roasted meats replaced fasting bread. Laughter and music echoed through halls meant for silence.
Many slipped into villages, enjoying taverns, games, and women.
While they prayed in daylight, their evenings belonged to indulgence. Pleasure became a stronger master than faith, drawing them away from devotion. The world believed them holy, but in truth, many monks found it impossible to resist the sweet taste of sin. Behind the stone walls of monasteries lay a shadowed world unknown to most. Officially, monks lived lives of silence, prayer, and service. But the underbelly of monastic life told a darker story. Some monks conspired in politics, trading influence for wealth and favors. Others dabbled in forbidden texts, studying alchemy and occult practices condemned by the church. Corruption thrived, with abbots protecting guilty monks in exchange for loyalty.
For every holy chant, there was a whispered sin.
This underbelly reveals the truth. Monasteries were not untouched by human weakness, they were filled with it, hidden from sight but deeply rooted in daily life. From the pulpit, monks condemned sin with fiery words. They warned against lust, greed, and indulgence, urging villagers to live simply and purely. Yet behind monastery doors, they often lived the very lives they condemned. They hoarded donations, enjoyed rich feasts, and indulged in pleasures of the flesh. Their hypocrisy was carefully concealed. But not invisible villagers whispered about secret children, dorinken abotsu, and stolen church treasures. The greatest scandal was not just their sin, but their duplicity. They demanded holiness from others, while excusing themselves from the same.
This hidden hypocrisy turned monasteries into theaters, where monks wore masks of faith while hiding lives of desire.
Vows of celibacy were meant to protect monks from worldly temptation, but love often breached monastery walls. Some monks fell deeply in love with nuns, meeting secretly through tunnels or exchanging coded letters.
Others developed bonds with widows or young women who came for blessings.
These relationships were dangerous, not only breaking vows, but risking scandal that could destroy entire orders. Yet passion often proved stronger than fear. Some monks ran away to start new lives with their lovers. Others were caught and punished, their names forever marked by disgrace. These forbidden relationships remind us that even the most sacred vows could be broken by the power of love. The Middle Ages painted monks as holy men who sacrificed everything for God. But the shocking truth is far more complex. Many monasteries were rich, powerful, and filled with corruption. Some monks lived in luxury, eating better than nobles and drinking stronger ale than peasants. Others were embroiled in political schemes, trading influence for power. Scandals of lust, greed, and deceit haunted even the most respected abbeys. To ordinary villagers, monks seemed like saints, but history reveals they were often just as sinful as the people they preached to. The shocking truth is that the monastery was not always a refuge of holiness, but a stage where human weakness played its part. Monasteries were built to honor God, yet many became centers of scandal. Some monks were caught embezzling church donations, spending gold on luxuries instead of charity. Others broke vows of chastity, luring women into their chambers or secretly fathering children. Even violence was not absent. Records tell of drunken fights and bitter rivalries spilling into bloodshed. The church tried to silence such stories, but whispers spread among villagers who saw more than they were meant to. To live in the house of God should have meant purity, but for many monks, it became a cover for sin. These scandals remind us that holiness was not always as it appeared by day. Monks wore the mask of devotion, kneeling in prayer, chanting hymns, and guiding the faithful. But when the sun set, many slipped into sinful double lives. Some kept secret mistresses in nearby villages, providing for them with stolen church funds. Others gambled away wealth in taverns, drinking beside the very peasants they scolded. Their dual existence was dangerous, but also thrilling, hidden beneath layers of silence and trust. Few dared to expose them, for the church's power was strong. These monks remind us that even holy men could live two lives, one for the public, one for their desires. Though bound by vows of chastity, desire burned in the hearts of many monks. Some wrote secret love poems tucked away in prayer books. Others sought the company of women during confession, twisting faith into seduction.
Rumors even told of abbots who allowed such behavior, protecting their brothers from punishment.
Hidden lust was not always romantic. It was often a hunger for the physical, a weakness monks struggled to bury.
Yet no wall, no vow, and no prayer could fully cage the human heart. Their hidden lusts show how even the most sacred men wrestled with temptation. The church demanded obedience, but monks often hid their true lives from its gaze. Secret cellars stored barrels of ale, even when drinking was forbidden. Hidden tunnels allowed lovers to enter and exit without notice. Some monks practiced astrology or read banned texts in the privacy of their rooms.
Others hoarded wealth, disguising it as church property.
Their greatest skill was secrecy sins, carefully hidden behind prayers and rituals. Though abbots suspected, they often turned blind eyes to protect their communities from scandal. What monks tried to hide from the church shows us a world where sin thrived under the cloak of holiness. The cloister was meant to be a sanctuary of silence and discipline, but many monks filled it with secret indulgences. Some smuggled sweets, spices, and fine fabrics into their cells, enjoying luxuries while preaching poverty. Others indulged in drink, turning prayer halls into taverns after dark. Forbidden romances blossomed in hidden gardens, where vows of chastity were quietly broken. Even gambling and storytelling thrived in corners where abbots could not see. The cloister, instead of shielding men from temptation, became a hidden stage for indulgence. Behind its walls, monks lived not as saints, but as men, craving pleasure. Confession was meant to cleanse the soul, but some monks carried sins too heavy to truly repent. In secret, they confessed only to one another drunkenness, forbidden love, greed, and betrayal. Some admitted to stealing from the monastery, while others revealed they had fathered children in silence. The darkest confessions told of violence, jealousy, and even deals with those practicing forbidden magic. These sins rarely reached the ears of the church, for monks protected their own. Behind closed doors, their whispered confessions revealed a world far different from the piety they preached. Holiness was a mask, and confession was often a way to ease guilt without changing their sinful ways. Monks were respected as guides to salvation, but many lived lives steeped in hypocrisy.
They preached poverty while enjoying golden goblets and fine banquets.
They urged celibacy, yet rumors of lovers and children swirled around monasteries. They condemned peasants for missing mass, while they themselves drank and gambled in secrecy. This hypocrisy was not only individual, it was institutional. Entire monasteries became wealthy landowners, exploiting peasants in the same way as noble lords. The gap between what they taught and how they lived created mistrust, but also fascination.
The hypocritical lives of monks remind us that even those closest to the altar were not free from sin.
When night fell, monasteries often changed character. By candlelight, silence gave way to laughter, feasting, and even whispered songs.
Some monks gathered in secret to drink strong ale, dice clattering on wooden tables.
Others slipped into dark corners with lovers who had crept inside. Forbidden nights also held secrets of book scrolls of alchemy, astrology, and magic studied under flickering flames. By dawn, all evidence was hidden. Barrels rolled away, lovers gone, and forbidden texts tucked under robes.
The day brought holiness once more. But the nights told a different story, a story of monks who surrendered to temptation when the world was asleep.
Silence was a vow every monk swore to keep. But within that silence, sin often flourished. Quietly, monks indulged in luxuries meant to be denied. They slipped food from stores, tasted forbidden wine, and entertained secret lovers without a word spoken. Some sins were hidden behind locked doors, while others were known, but never mentioned aloud. Silence became both a rule and a shield, protecting guilty monks from exposure. Villagers suspected, but no one dared to speak against holy men. In their silence, monks lived double lives, outwardly pure, inwardly corrupt. Their unspoken sins reveal how silence could hide as much as it promised to honor. The church worked tirelessly to maintain the image of purity within its monasteries. But scandals were too great to erase completely. Records speak of monks caught in affairs, drunken riots, theft, and even violent crimes. Some scandals were so explosive that entire monasteries were dissolved or rebuilt to erase their shame. Yet the church often buried these stories, locking away documents and silencing witnesses to protect its power.
Still, rumors spread, and chroniclers dared to write the truth.
These scandalous accounts survived through whispers and hidden texts, reminding us that beneath the church's shining image lay a darker reality. The scandals they tried to bury now stand uncovered, revealing the sinful lives of monks once thought untouchable.